Good evening, everyone. This is Bob with Bob's Appliance Service, and I've got joined tonight by my lovely wife, Jan, again. Good to see you.
Good to
And
be here.
also, we have a special guest tonight, Mr. Ron Day from First Carolina Bank, and we found that to be a very good asset to the community and a good banker.
Well, thank you, Bob. It's good to be with you guys tonight.
Glad to have you. And we wanted to kind of talk about your bank tonight, and if anyone has any questions after the first half of the show, be welcome you to call in. And let's get right on to it. And I guess you're going to have some questions too, right, Jan?
Yeah.
Okay. By the way, congratulations on your Small Business of the Month award that you got.
Well, thank you very much.
You joined us in the same year there, and I think y'all were also the Rookie of the Year.
We sure were. We sure were.
Congratulations on that. That says a lot.
That was done through the Rocky Mount Chamber of
Rocky
Commerce.
Mount Chamber of Commerce.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. Been about a year ago, but we sure got a lot of benefit out of that, and we appreciated the recognition.
It's nice to be recognized.
It sure
isn't it?
is.
And that comes with doing a good job.
We hope.
Well, proof, what they used to say, proof is in the pudding.
Yeah.
So going forward, that's
Well, let's put it this way: the experience that Bob and I have had with First Carolina has been a great experience. So that's why we wanted to have you, so we could let the viewers know that you're out there.
yeah, they take care of our little piggy bank, and we don't have anything.
It's a little bitty.
But they do a good job. They're a friend to us. They're always there to answer the phone. I can connect. Jan can connect. Anybody can connect with an individual at First Carolina Bank, and that's a great thing to be able to do this day and time. Tell me about some of the features that First Carolina's got.
Well, Bob, one of the things that we spend a lot of time on in our bank is talking about delivering things in a highly personal way. We have a commitment that actually is, you can view it on our website, that talks about things like we will do the day-to-day things in banking extremely well. We will put the person in charge of your relationship that is the right person for your situation. It seems basic, but most banks don't do that very well. And we try to focus on the very basic things and executing them extremely well for our customers so that they have a very high touch and a highly satisfactory experience when they deal with us. Banking has gotten very complicated in many ways with the proliferation of technology and the different ways that you can transact with a bank. And what we try to do is offer all that and make it very simple for the customer. And at the same time, we know that customers are going to have questions throughout the process. And the last thing they want when they have a question is to call in and get into a voice response unit and get into a routine of trying to press a button to get to the right question. If you call us, you're going to get a person and you're going to get a quick answer.
And I can speak to that. I really can.
I can too.
My wife Jan, we thought about changing banks going back into before 2010, and we could never pull the trigger on it. And First Carolina came to see us, and they made us that comfortable that we were able to do that. And that says a lot, that you can get my wife that comfortable
Well,
to make that transition.
Yeah, I'll have to say Bob is the one that said we're going to change banks.
Well, we're glad he said
and
that.
it's going to be First Carolina.
I don't have that much clout.
But but it's been, even though changing a business and our personal, we changed everything at one time. It was a little scary.
Sure.
And all of our personal stuff is done. I've only got one little thing that I'm working on, but that's from my end that needs to be done. It's not First Carolina. But I've just been very pleased with the help that I've gotten through the transition, because when you're messing with somebody's money,
That's right.
not only your personal money, but we're dealing with a business and having to change that too. There's a lot involved.
Well, we talk about a lot, you're only as good as your most recent mistake sometimes, particularly when you're talking about somebody's money. And what we've learned is if you don't always do things perfectly, that you respond through the problem consistently. And you hold hands. And again, there are a lot of things about banking that have gotten removed from the local office. And that's the great thing. I actually have a pretty deep background in all different sized banks. I've worked in the larger institutions, and before I was fortunate enough to come back in this bank in 2012, I saw the other side of the impersonal, larger company work processes. And they're in place for reasons, but they deliver a very different experience for the customer on the other side. And what we try to do, and I'm a convert to the community banking model, community banks are highly necessary in the United States. And they are so because they allow you to take your local knowledge and apply it in a particular situation to get a different outcome than you might get working through some elaborate process in a big company. And that's necessary in small places where people have things that go wrong, and you need to be able to react to shape the solution around that. And so it's great to hear your testimonial about that, because we have to execute that every single day. And we've been very fortunate in Rocky Mount to do that, and we've had a very nice growth trajectory in the last 18 months to 2 years. And we anticipate that that's going to continue. I mean, there are a lot of good things going on in Rocky Mount. And again, the bank only does as well as how the community is doing. And so I think we are representative of that in terms of our results.
Right.
Well, you have a beautiful bank. Bob and I has had the opportunity to go in and see everything, and it's really nice. I like it a lot.
Yeah, stop in. Folks, stop in and talk to them. Nothing ventured, nothing gained, and I believe you'll be very satisfied with them down there. What kind of prompted you to enter the going after the smaller people, the small customers?
Well, for one thing, it depends on how people like to be referred to. I'm very careful about referring to someone as a small customer or a small business customer, because even using your example, you might think you're a small business, but you're a huge business to us. And I think you're probably more symbolic of the type of businesses that succeed in smaller communities. And so that's what's available to us, and if we don't do well with that, then we're not going to have a very good bank. And so whether it's revenue size or how many different services that you have with us that give an indication of what the size of your business is, we sort of look at it that every person or every business represents a lifetime value potentially, and a lifetime is a very long time.
It is.
We talked about this earlier today.
We did.
And so what may start out as a car loan or a checking account or a savings account might turn into a multi-million-dollar business in 15, 20 years down the road.
Right.
So we get started with people early. There was a bank that used to have a slogan that was called, "We want to be your bank for life." We talk a lot about owning this bank for life and running it like we want to own it for life. And if we do that, then I think you'll end up capturing all the small business that's going to turn into large business over a period of time.
Yeah, a lot of grapes make a bunch.
That's right.
And as we gather them up like that, then you do tend to grow within the community, and just one behind the other, it starts snowballing on you. And I had something told to me a long time ago by a former boss man I had coming out of high school, and somebody you had some dealings with too. He told me that there were no problems, just opportunities.
Right. Well, we had to look certainly at our company in that way, because it's no secret the company that we were able to raise capital locally in First Carolina to reset, if you will, back in 2012 had challenges, and there were some that looked at it and said, we can't fix that, we can't make it right. And we had a very astute, very community-focused group of people in our board and our original shareholders who looked at it differently. And we were fortunate enough, some of us who work at the bank, to become connected to them, and they gave us a shot at running a bank again. And it's all I know how to do, and it's all the people at the bank what we know how to do. It's our livelihood. So we're very appreciative of that, and we looked at it all along as we'd been given a gift, and we're stewards of their capital investment.
You're exactly right.
And that was a huge opportunity, even with challenges, and even when things don't necessarily go right, there are ways to work through that and create a better outcome.
It's all in how you take care of it on the other
That's
side.
exactly
If we
right.
have a problem, then we come back and we're able to solve that problem and going forward and make the situation better and try to alleviate that from happening again, then we're better for it.
That's exactly right.
Problems sometimes make you better in the long run.
Yes. Yes.
It may be a bad thing.
Well, Bob and I have known some adversity, and we stuck together and we worked through it, and I
You
think we're
rebuild
better for
yeah,
it now.
exactly.
We were in downtown Rocky Mount for 21 years. We had a good business then. Just the fire decided it was going to replace us.
And just like you, when you regrouped in 2012.
That's right.
Was it a bad thing? Well, sure it was. But let's look at it going forward now to where you are now.
Exactly.
You're growing within the community and expanding outward, and I think that's a great thing because more depositors and more business for you just means more opportunities for the ones that's already trading with. I say trading, doing business with you now. And that's the way
exactly
I see it. So, more money in the pot. If you need something to borrow, it'd be a little bit more there or something like that.
Come on over.
Yeah.
Right.
What would you have to say to the young person that's out there today? I guess the one coming out of high school, college, or whatever, and they need to get out and start putting things down to get started in life. They're maybe going to need a car. They may even need college money or something like that going forward. How does that person set him or herself up to go forward?
Well, I think the main thing that the young person needs to realize is that sometimes no legislation is better than bad legislation. And what I mean by that is be patient and take your time. Building a financial stability for yourself is a lifetime event sometimes, and it takes a long time, and generally speaking most are wanting things more quickly than perhaps they need it.
Right.
And relative to your credit worthiness, the worst thing you can do is go and create an early problem in your financial life, because you may spend an inordinate amount of time solving for that and getting yourself back on track. So surround yourself with people who seem to be having success in terms of their financials. Talk to people who've been in business and have been successful. What were the things that they did? I generally think you're going to have people encouraging you to save, encouraging you to not buy that big ticket that's going to indebt you, as a certain percentage of whatever your income may be, and just take your time. Take your time. And it's hard to do, but particularly when you're in your 20s, but if you can take that year or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 to build some habits about how you're saving and how you are approaching major decisions, you'll be surprised at how that period of time gets you ahead, and that stipend, if you will, that you build up will survive your whole life. And that's the thing that we see the most is people trying to go too fast and not realizing that all the get-rich-fast stories or whatever are generally just stories, and it just generally takes good old-fashioned hard work to get ahead.
You're right. I remember the first loan I ever made was with the old First Union, right? First Union, and I had a savings account there, and I might have had, I don't know, at that time $500-600 in it, but back in the early '70s, that was a lot of money.
Sure.
And I wanted a motorcycle. It cost $250, and this was Edith Oates. I went in there. She told me how to go about it. She said, "We'll just take and borrow this money against this money here, and it'll stay there until it's all paid back." That started it.
Some people, whenever someone asks me about establishing credit or establishing a relationship with a bank, one of the things that we will offer to them is borrowing money against money that you have in the bank.
Yep.
And they'll say, well, I wouldn't need to borrow the money if I have the money in the bank. I'd just take the money out of the bank. And what I will tell them is well, we won't charge you much interest over what you're paying on that deposit account, but you'll establish a routine for how to repay debt and how to establish a credit history on yourself. One of the worst things that you can do is go and max out credit cards. That impacts your score credit-wise almost as negatively as paying slow. And that's another thing is whenever you do get a debt, pay it on time. Pay it on time. And a lot of folks that we deal with, it's not that they pay slow because they don't have the money, they just get sloppy. And they don't realize how that gets out of control and that impacts that score. And there's so many things that we do in the bank relative to lending you money that's based on that score.
Well, that was going to be one of my questions, was how, because we wanted our daughter to get some credit history going, because she's eventually going to be out on her own.
Sure.
And we decided for her to get a credit card. And she gets her card. She has a credit card that she'll buy stuff online or whatever, but she pays it all.
Clean it up
off
every month.
So is that starting out with a credit card? Is that a good way?
It is if you can establish the discipline to pay it off in advance of the minimum payments, or pay it off at best every month.
Right.
There's a lot of advantages to using a credit card. There are rewards, there are cash rebates that tend to be very valuable for the consumer. And the reason the banks will offer those rewards is that half of the consumers never redeem those benefits. So they sell the card based on the fact that there is a benefit attached to it. The customer begins to revolve more often, and the interest charges can start racking up. That's how the bank will make money. But it's a good way to establish some discipline if you can keep yourself from making those big purchases and getting behind and not paying them off. Once you do that and you start paying them regularly, your credit history and your score will develop very rapidly.
That's something I was telling you about today with Jan and I with a GM card. Now, we've had that thing for, Lord have mercy, I don't know how long, probably had $500,000 of charges on it by now, and we've had, $26,000 in points, and spent them all with Don Bullock Chevrolet.
Right.
But it's equal to a van.
That's exactly right. The other thing I would say about establishing credit history is there is no substitute also for communicating with your bank. The thing the bank hates the most is when you start having problems and you start avoiding the bank and not communicating with us on what you can do. The bank is very open to reworking contractual obligations and resetting those to fit what your current situation will be. We would much prefer that than trying to chase you down every month.
Well, I've always told people, if they had to charge something, and we don't normally do that, but if that had to be like that to help someone out or something like that, and I would tell them, say, look, you tell me what you can do.
Right.
Don't tell me what you want to do.
Right.
And I'm not going to tell you what I want. You tell me what you can do, and that's what I'm going to expect.
Exactly.
Each month. And that's kind of what we try to run on. Need to go for a break,
we
Jan?
need to take a break, and we'll discuss First Carolina Bank more when we return.
All right.
Barrington's Auto Works and Collision Center is a full-service repair facility and collision center. Engine and transmission repair or replacement, tune-ups, brakes, and air conditioning. We have the latest computer diagnostic equipment, and we are an NC inspection station. We also accept extended warranties. Our brand new body shop is a complete state-of-the-art collision center, offering frame straightening, lifetime paint guarantees, and free computerized estimates. We use all BASF paint products that are original equipment on over 80% of today's car manufacturers, foreign and domestic. Visit the only independently owned one-stop shop for complete auto care at Tharrington's Auto Works and Collision Center, 1212 Construction Drive in Rocky Mount, and let us take care of all of your car's needs.
Visit Bob's Appliance Service in our new permanent home at 1888 Sunset Avenue. To ensure you get the best home appliance repair service anywhere, we have all the newest tools and latest test equipment. We have upgraded our computer system to include the latest product information about your appliance and help us maintain the thousands of individual parts we now stock. Our technicians are factory trained and are continuing their education through seminars and classes to better serve you. Bob's Appliance Service is your area-wide factory-authorized warranty repair center for all major brands. And if you're a self-doer, check with us for the parts you need. When that drink is not cold enough or the clothes are still damp, do what the people have been doing for 26 years. They pick up the phone, dial 252-442-7126, and get help from Bob's Appliance Service. So call or stop by our new home at 1888 Sunset Avenue.
Welcome back to Tech Talk tonight. Our guest is Ron Day, President and CEO of First Carolina Bank right here in Rocky Mount, a hometown bank.
You got it.
Home office.
That we,
I guess, right?
Is it,
Okay.
That's a question that I would like to know. Is Rocky Mount the only branch that you have, or are there others?
It is not. I would say the majority of our business happens in and around the Twin County area, but we also have an office over in Reidsville, North Carolina. Interesting how that occurred. That was part of the company before we bought it in 2012. So we've embraced that, and we have a nice business over there in downtown Reidsville. We also have an office in Greenville, North Carolina, and we will be opening in June a new office in Raleigh.
Yeah,
Well,
saw
I
that
had
in the
we
paper.
read about that in the paper, and we were like, God, they are branching out.
Well, it just shows how much need there is out there for the
Well,
community bank.
It is, and frankly, you could almost argue vice versa. Bedroom community Raleigh is of Rocky Mount, or vice versa. It's just not that far apart. And we do have this geography where we stretch over to Reidsville right now, and it's kind of the natural spot right in between. And Raleigh, interestingly enough, I was reading the other day, is the 41st largest economy in the world, the Triangle area itself.
Well,
And
that's
there's a
saying
lot.
something.
Well, there's a lot of that
Research
extends
triangle.
into Nash County and Edgecombe County, and there are a lot of connections between people traveling back and forth, people doing business over there from here, people over there doing business here. And to me, it's just a logical extension for us that won't compromise at all the integrity of our community focus. We talk a lot about where we want to be when we grow up, or what we want to be when we grow up. We just want to be a great community bank and profitable. But there is some merit to size in banking.
Right.
And the one thing I would say about that is it allows us to do different transactions in terms of size. We are limited in the amount of loan that we can make to any one individual customer based on the size of our capital base in the bank. So if we grow, that allows us to do potentially larger things for customers in Rocky Mount. We've got a couple of situations right now that we're working on where we are participating with other institutions that I have relationships with to help effect that transaction. And so as we grow, we can take on more of that transaction and provide that benefit back into the community and that same level of service even on the larger deals.
Well, you've got to trust the people that you let handle your money.
That's right.
And, trust goes a long way.
It does.
And with the identity theft and that kind of thing, I mean, Bob and I have been very fortunate, I'm going to knock on wood, that hasn't happened to
Yep.
us. But
It
if
can.
something was to happen, say that, somebody had gotten into our bank account, what would be our steps to take to kind of
Well, it's
head
a
that off?
great question, because one of the things I get asked a lot is, do we compromise our security in our accounts because we're dealing with you as a small company as opposed to a larger company that the perception may be they can invest more in the technology to prevent that? And the answer to that is absolutely not. We provide as secure of an environment as any other bank out there. The technology has come so far, and it's one of the reasons why I'm so bullish on community banking, is the technology is such that today we can deliver the same environment and the same security as any other company, the same functionality, types of products, other products that others would offer in the larger companies in our small bank. And the advantage that we have in the situation that you just described is if you ever were compromised, you call us and you're going to be dealing with somebody on the other end of the phone that knows you and is instantly on your problem in terms of resolving it. We've had examples of that, of people in the community where a child loses a debit card or what have you, and they need us to shut it down quickly. We get a reissue going, and we can do that as quickly and as efficiently as anyone.
I think that actually happened to our daughter.
It happened to one of our employees too.
Well, and
Got into the van.
you leave, like you might hand somebody your debit card to pay for something.
Sure.
And you walk, you're in a hurry trying to get things done, and you walk away, and then you realize later that you don't have your card.
That's right.
It's good to know that I can, if that happens to us, that I can pick up the phone and I can call Lori
Or Maxie.
or
yeah.
anyone there. I can say, this is Jan from Bob's Appliance Service. They know exactly who I am.
That's exactly.
Tell them what the problem is, and they're on it.
Jan and I, we're transitioning now to more. Our guys will have iPads out in the field, take credit cards, and we're kind of headed towards paperless in our business now. How? If I give you a check, not you, but if I give the merchant somewhere a check and someone walks by and happens to get that check, they got my account number, right? But if I got you on the smartphone and I go to that little symbol you got, First Carolina,
Isn't that good looking?
there, it is.
Yeah.
If I go to that little symbol out there, I can do my stuff in a lot more secure environment than I can of giving someone a check through the mail or giving someone my card that I let walk away from a table and go back behind the wall and make a transaction. We're
that's
trying
exactly
to keep things
right.
in front of us.
That's exactly
We're trying
right.
to do.
Again, what we've talked about is we provide, we have to provide more options for customers to do business with us today than we perhaps did, years ago. And not everybody is going to want to do that, Bob,
Yeah,
but
I know.
more and more people do.
It's going that way.
But the same number is going to still want to come in and touch it and feel it and deal with the decision maker, and we're going to always have that too.
Yeah.
That option hasn't gone away.
They're the ones out there that they still go to the yard and get the piggy bank out the ground.
Exactly,
out
and we love them
there, fold it
too.
up. Yeah,
Well,
just freeze it, money in the freezer or whatever.
Change is hard sometimes, but First Carolina has definitely made it easier.
We make it simple.
For us and for Bob's Appliance Service, and we appreciate everything y'all have done
We
to help
do.
us.
You're a great bank. You're a great bank going forward, and I know you'll continue on. I haven't seen anything that would lead me to believe anything otherwise. We'll continue to speak your good name out there, and we hope
thank
you
you.
continue on and grow bigger. And as you grow, you keep us in mind.
We definitely will. We appreciate the opportunity to be on tonight.
I told you it'd be a quick show.
Thank you, Bob.
With that's it.
Yeah, that's right.
And you want to take us out?
Yeah, don't forget we're having a fundraiser for Friday night for Sterling Carroll at Beulah Church in Nashville. fish fry plates from 5 to 8 o'clock, $8 each. We have tickets if you'd like to give us a call or come by. We'll be glad to get them for
And
you.
that's at the end of Hunter Hill Road.
Okay.
Okay, right there.
And we
by
have
L&L.
50/50 tickets also. And we also have a fundraiser going for Chastity Prince, and we'll have a little more information on that next week. That will be a fishing tournament right here in Rocky Mount.
And we'll see you next week, folks.
Okay.
Good
Thank
night,
you. Good night.
everyone.
Well done.